I'm Roman Yossi of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Matt Duchesne of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Justus Aros of the Nashville Predators.
I'm Ryan Johansson of the Nashville Predators.
You're listening to the Renegades of Puck
with Crazy Charlie.
Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the Renegades of Puck podcast. I'm your host and Captain Crazy Charlie Saunier, and before we get started on the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, let me direct you to our home website, renegadesofpuck.com. Once you go to renegadesofpuck.com, you'll learn everything you need to know about the show, and once you're good and educated, you can click on that merchandise tab. That's going to take you to our classic logo tee, our Pride logo tee, and all of our other different special event t-shirts. But don't worry, all of the gimmicks you've come to know and love from the Renegades of Puck are still in our online store. Throw pillows, wall art, bed sets, and socks. Yes, socks. You can outfit your entire person or your entire home with Renegades of Puck merchandise, and frankly, we would appreciate if you would do so because we've sold out so that you can buy in. Social media is of critical importance to this independent operation, so we would appreciate if you would take just a second, especially since it doesn't cost you a thing, to go and give us a like, a subscription, a follow on any of the following platforms, or perhaps all of the following platforms. You can find us on social media, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, and on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. You can find our behind-the-scenes live stream channel on Twitch. You can also find us on a myriad of platforms for podcasting, and that includes Stitcher, that includes Spotify, that includes a whole bunch of other different places. Just search Renegades of Puck on your favorite podcast platform, and you will find us right there. You can become a partner or a sponsor of the Renegades of Puck by going to Venmo and just search Renegades of Puck or scan the QR code that's currently on your screen. Any donation goes a long way in helping the Renegades of Puck, and we sure do appreciate each and every one of you generous Renegades out there that have helped us throughout the process. It's not just the technology, but now a hockey club that we are getting behind, and we've got a whole lot of great things coming up soon, thanks to some generous donations by Renegades just like you. Now, I know it's time to get to the No Half Step in Hockey coverage, so let me deliver the goods. Time for operation number 706 for the Renegades of Puck. That is right. Operation number 706. Show 706 for the Renegades. Puck 11 plus years here in the bunker and in the trenches covering the Nashville Predators. At this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves sliding back into 6th place in the Central Division after 45 games played. They have a record of 21-18-6. 48 points has them 1 point behind 5th place and 4th place, St. Louis and Colorado, respectively. Let's go top down on the division before we go any further, though. After tonight's action, the Dallas Stars still in 1st place, 61 points now on the season. The Winnipeg Jets have 59 points. They are in 2nd place. The Minnesota Wild have 54 points. They are in 3rd place. Colorado and St. Louis tied at 49. Colorado, though, holds the tiebreaker due to games played. St. Louis has played 3 more games than Colorado. Then comes Nashville at 48 points in 6th place. Arizona with 33 points in 7th place. And Chicago Blackhawks are at the bottom of the division in 8th place. So the Nashville Predators find themselves 6 points behind an automatic playoff qualifying spot, which would be 3rd place overall in the Central Division. On home ice, which is where the Nashville Predators' next game will take place, they have a record of 11-7-3. They've given up 133 goals in the season. They've scored 124. That means they have a goal differential of -9. Now, their next game will be against the Los Angeles Kings. 3-game homestand coming up before the All-Star break, and this Nashville Predators team, after what we saw tonight in St. Louis, is sputtering towards the All-Star break. After they wrap up this game against the LA Kings Tuesday, they will face off against Winnipeg Jets. Thursday, the New Jersey Devils, and then they will be off until February the 7th when Vegas will be back at Bridgestone Arena. The 11th of February, the Nashville Predators will be in Philadelphia, and the 13th of February, the Nashville Predators will be back home to face off against the Arizona Coyotes. So 3 more games in total before the Nashville Predators are off for the All-Star break. They need to seize a maximum amount of points, and it needs to start with the LA Kings, which is going to be difficult. Now, this is not the first time these two teams have played this season. Matter of fact, let's go back to October the 18th. The first time they met, it was a 4-3 shootout loss for the Nashville Predators. Forsberg, Jeannot, and Glass with 1 goal apiece. Roy scored 2 goals for LA. It was Peterson going 29 out of 32 and securing the victory. Saros takes the loss 32 of 35. Now, these two teams will meet again, and that will take place on March the 11th. 11th, when the Nashville Predators will be in LA. Now, for the LA Kings, let's take a look at their most recent stretch of 5 games. It was back on January the 7th when they secured a 5-1 victory at Las Vegas, following that up on January the 9th with a 6-3 win versus Edmonton. On the 11th of January, 4-3 win versus the San Jose Sharks. On the 14th, a 5-2 loss versus the New Jersey Devil, and most recently a 4-0 loss versus Dallas. Copley had to be pulled in this game, 13 out of 17. Now, when it comes to the rankings and the matchups between these two teams, the LA Kings find themselves all over the map, while the Nashville Predators unfortunately find themselves mostly in the lower third of the NHL. Let's go over it. Goals for the Nashville Predators are 27th overall in the NHL, 2.71 per game, while the LA Kings are generating 3.26 goals per game. That is 11th best overall in the NHL. In the goals against category, Nashville Predators are ahead of LA in this, 14th best in the NHL, giving up 2.93 per game, while the LA Kings are giving up 3.39 per game. That is 22nd overall in the league. In the shots for category, the Nashville Predators generate 31 shots per game on net. That is 19th best in the NHL, while the LA Kings are generating 32.5 shots per game on net. That is 11th best in the NHL. Shots against, the Predators are 30th, and you know, as of late, they are giving up tons of shots against. That number for the season has crept up now to 34.4, only 2 spots from the bottom of the overall league, while the LA Kings are 6th best in the NHL in the shots against category, 28.7 against per game. Special teams, the Nashville Predators power play has been near the bottom of the league all season long, and it continues to be there. 30th overall in the NHL, 24 out of 151 scoring opportunities on the power play this season. That's the raw data. 15.9% is their conversion rate, while the LA Kings are the 7th best power play in the league, converting at 25%, 40 out of 160 on the year. In the penalty kill category, the Nashville Predators are ahead in this statistical metric, 14th best in the NHL with an 80% kill rate. They've given up 32 power play goals against on the season, while the LA Kings are 29th rated on the penalty kill with only a 73% kill rate. They have given up a staggering number, 43 power play goals against. This is one particular area where the Nashville Predators have struggled on the power play, where perhaps the LA Kings deficiencies on the penalty kill could allow the Nashville Predators to find a way for some success. As of late, the power play has absolutely hit a massive drought. For the Nashville Predators, relatively healthy. Borowiecki, the only player on the injured reserve list at this time. Plenty of players are probably banged up and bruised up and definitely could use the break coming up. So for the Nashville Predators, though, the only official injury right now listed is Borowiecki. Every team in the NHL has an incredible amount of individual skill, and that's why we go over the individual stats and the top 5 scorers for each team. For the LA Kings, the visiting team, Kevin Fiala, 16 goals and 31 assists for 47 points. 47 is more than 25, which is Mikhail Granlund's total points at this time of the season. More on that later. Antti Kopitar, 12 goals and 23 assists for 35 points. Always plays tremendously well against the Nashville Predators team. Danault is 13 and 20 for 33. Victor Arvidsson, RB Hustle, 12 and 21 for 33. And Velarde, 17 goals and 14 assists for 31 points. That 17 goals leads the team in total goals, and it is 31 assists by Fiala that leads the team in total assists. Copley and net, record of 12 and 2, 904 save percentage, 2.59 goals against average. Not a great performance against the Dallas Stars in their most recent game, but overall, tremendous numbers on the season. The Nashville Predators stats, Philip Forsberg continues to lead the team in scoring as he has done now for several weeks. 18 goals, that is number 1 overall in goals on the team. Add 21 assists to that for 39 points, which is the team lead. The captain, Roman Josi, is leading the team with 24 total assists. Add 12 goals to that, and he has 36 points on the season. Matt Duchene, 11 and 23 for 34. Mikhail Granlund, 4 and 21 for 25. And Nino Niederreiter, 13 goals in the season, 10 assists for 23 points. UC Saros' numbers definitely take a hit in this most recent game. Now a record of 16, 13, and 5, a 919 save percentage, a 2.75 goals against average for the Nashville Predators, looking for a maximum effort type night against the LA Kings. LA is a difficult matchup and a team full of players that typically find success against the Nashville Predators. They're going to have to dig deep and they're going to have to get the job done. 3 games to go until the All-Star break, and it all starts with the LA Kings Saturday night in Smashville.
Hockey players are as unique as the game itself, and your uniform should be tailored to fit you. Rebirth Sports is your sports apparel tailor. From shells, bags, warm-ups, hats, hoodies, branding, and more, let Rebirth Sports be your custom hockey tailor.
And don't forget to tell them they do more than just hockey.
Rebirth Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rebirth Sport, a match made in hockey.
It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap, and we go all the way back to January the 19th of the year 2023 when the Nashville Predators were taking on the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. John Hines deploys his lines in the following way: Forsberg, Glass, and Duchesne on your first line, Niederreiter, Johansson, and Granlund on your second line, Smith, Parson, and Sissons, Trenton, Novak, and Janot on your defensive pairings, McDonough and Yossi, Ekholm and Carey, Luzon, and Fabro. UC Saros gets the start in net. We are just 1:07 into the first period, and Binnington's coming up with a save on Forsberg. First shot on goal of the game at 2:03 of the first period. Tommy Novak puts the puck, and then there was a rebound follow-up of Luzon's drive to the net. It was reviewed for goaltender interference, and he was overturned. Take that goal off the board, return the score to 0-0. 4:54 into the first period, UC Saros with a save on Kyrou on the 2-on-1. It was a strong anticipation save by UC Saros right here. 5:38 into the first period, Buchnevich off the box, 2 minutes for hooking. Binnington comes with a save on Yossi, plus the rebound jam by Johansson. Binnington then comes up with a save on Johansson another time later in the power play. 12:38 of the first period, Saros comes up with a save on Leddy after turnover by the Nashville Predators D. 13:24, Cole Smith is given a 4-minute high sticking penalty, a double minor. This is reviewed and it is overturned. It is deemed, and it was obvious once you got a chance to look at a couple of angles in slow-mo, that it was a teammate that accidentally got the stick up in the other teammate's face. UC Saros comes up with a save on Saad at 13:52, 17:18. Binnington comes to save on Parson, 19:05. Saros a save on Achari plus the rebound at 19:25 of the first. Binnington comes up with a save on Yossi plus his rebound follow-up. The Nashville Predators were going to outshoot the St. Louis Blues 12-10 in the first period, but will be unable to take the lead. 11 seconds into the second period, though, St. Louis would secure that lead for the first time in this game. It's Schen's 11th goal of the season. It was a wrist shot from just over the blue line. Seemed relatively harmless. Not sure if UC Saros was able to track it or how much of a deflection it got off of McDonough, but it doesn't make a difference. Schen's 11th goal of the season gives St. Louis a 1-0 lead. We are just a minute or two later, 2:36 into the second period. Sorry, the clock disappeared from the game broadcast for quite a few minutes right here. Sissons' 7th goal of the season ties the game up at 1 apiece for the Nashville Predators. The breakaway was sprung during a line change by Cole Smith. Great recognition here by Cole Smith to go ahead and shoot that puck the length of the ice for Colton Sissons to go ahead and tuck that puck away on the breakaway. 1-1 hockey game, 2:36 into the second period. 2:58 in the second, Parsons off to the box. 2 minutes for puck over the glass. UC Saros comes with a save on Kyrou. The Blues have lots of zone time and lots of pressure, but the Preds are able to hold the line and survive. But at 8:30, Saad's 14th goal of the season does give St. Louis a 2-1 lead. He out-muscled Tanner Janot and beat Saros 5-hole. How often can you say something like Tanner Janot was out-muscled to the net? Not something I was expecting, and frankly, a sentence I did not ever think that I would be writing. So Saad's 14th goal of the season gives St. Louis a 2-1 lead in the second period. 11:50 of the second period, UC Saros comes with a save on Kyrou off the rush. 14:31, Granlund's off to the box, 2 minutes for holding, and that's where Kyrou scoring his 21st goal of the season, making it 3-1 in favor of the St. Louis Blues. It was a backhand at the top of the crease, and it sure was a sick finish. 3-1 in favor of the Blues. 18:33 of the second, Binnington comes with a save on Fabro. 19:05, Saros comes up with a save on Pitlick, and we hit the end of the 40 minutes of play. St. Louis out shooting Nashville now 25-19. So 15 shots on goal and 3 goals for the St. Louis Blues in the second period. Seeing if the Nashville Predators can gain some momentum during the intermission, coming out of the clean sheet. Just 31 seconds into the third period, UC Saros comes with a save on Buchnevich, but at 1:03 of of the third period. Thomas's 12th goal of the season, which was a perfect, just an absolute perfect redirect at the side of the crease, gives the St. Louis Blues a 4-1 lead. And just 1 minute later, Toropchenko's third goal of the season was a tap-in on a 3-on-1, giving St. Louis a 5-1 lead at 3:31 of the third period. Schen's off to the box, 2 minutes for hooking, but then Niederreiter takes the penalties off the box, 2 minutes for hooking just after the turnover. 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 17 seconds. 6:43 of the third period. Smith and Tucker would have a go, and they'd go off the box 5 minutes apiece. 10:36 of the third period. Fabro's off the box, 2 minutes for holding the stick right there in front of the crease. It was incredibly obvious. Falk is off the box, 2 minutes for interference, though shortly after making it a 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 52 seconds. Bennington has to come up with a big save on Novak at 16:16. Pareko's off the box, 2 minutes for tripping. Forsberg then takes a needless penalty, 2 minutes for high sticking, leading to another 4-on-4 for 56 seconds. That's where Matthias Ekholm scores his 5th goal of the season. Backhand roof job from close range. Good-looking goal, but of course, it's not nearly enough. St. Louis wins this game 5-2, and they outshoot the Nashville Predators 33-26. The St. Louis Blues went from 10 shots to 25 shots, and they honestly didn't need to really put up any more shots after 2:01 into the third period. So the St. Louis Blues, a dominant performance over the Nashville Predators now. I'm going to get into exactly what I think happened to the Nashville Predators tonight. We've got full game analysis, stats, breakdowns, and Sean C. Smith will also be jumping in the trenches to file a report on tonight's game against St. Louis Blues. But the facts are the facts. The Rebirth Sports full game recap says the Nashville Predators fall to St. Louis 5-2 in the battle of 4th place in the Central Division. The Predators are outshot 33-26. We'll be back to give you all of the analysis.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tracy, owner-operator of Strong Style Fitness. And that's me and my training assistant, Rizzo. And we are here to bring you fitness that meets you where you are by offering circuit classes, bar-inspired classes, Tabata workouts, boot camps, guided stretching, and more, all taught by a certified personal trainer, me. To learn more, go to our website, strongstylefit.com. Subscribe on YouTube at Strong Style Fitness. Follow on social media at Strong Style Fit. But most importantly, let's get you moving. It doesn't matter if it's your first workout or you've been doing it for years. Strong Style Fitness has the workout that meets you on your journey and helps you along the path to a happier, healthier life. I understand where you've been, what you were going through, and where you were going, and I want to take you there. We'll see you on the mat. Mwah.
Saros was 28 out of 33 in this game, and he wasn't on. He certainly wasn't having one of his better performances. And you know what? It would not have mattered if he was having an incredible performance. The team in front of him was not having any type of performance. And to be honest with you, he should have been pulled at the 2:01 mark of the third period after the 5th goal. It was very apparent and very obvious the Nashville Predators were not going to make any type of surge or run in this third period. And the amount of minutes, the amount of saves UC Saros has put up already in the season and the recent workload, I think that this was an opportunity to get him out of the game and get him a little bit of rest and let Lankinen come out here and play a little bit more hockey. He's certainly a competent backup, and he hasn't played nearly as much as he probably should by this point in the season. So for UC Saros, it wasn't his night. Even if he was on, it wouldn't have been his night because the Nashville Predators as a team overall were frankly just not that good. We're going to get more to it as we go. Just a couple of things I want to point out, though, that are at least reasonably positive or at least can be extracted from this podcast as good news. Sissons picks up a goal, 500 games. His 500th game for the Nashville Predators. I can remember talking about Colton Sissons coming up from Milwaukee with Dan Bradley all the way back in the radio days of this show, and we used to talk about how Colton Sissons was going to be the sheriff of this team, and he was going to be that fourth-line dynamic center that they were looking for, could win defensive zone faceoffs, and would go to the hard areas and do all the right things, and damn it, 500 games later, we were exactly right about that. Now, Colton Sissons Sissons has proven that he can be a bit of a Swiss Army hockey player. You can put him in any line, any position, and he will find a reasonable way to thrive in the Colton Sissons type way. He's never going to be a massive goal scorer, massive point scorer, but he does everything out there that you want out of a hockey player, and I've really appreciated covering him for 500 games. He's always been very good to the Renegades Puck. He had always given me the time earlier in his career when I was still going and covering the team in the locker room. So congratulations to Colton Sissons on his 500th game, and great job by picking up a goal in this game. Unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, that wasn't quite enough, and I highly doubt Colton Sissons did a lot of celebrating after this game. Tommy Novak, wanted to point out something positive about Tommy Novak in this game. Yes, he does pick up an assist, but just the fact that even late in the third period, when it was obvious that the Nashville Predators were out of this game and there was not going to be a surge, there was not going to be a comeback, Tommy Novak was going about it hard. He was still going to the hard areas. He was in the corner on the forecheck, throwing the body, stealing the puck, setting up scoring opportunities. That is the type of thing you need to see out of a young player, to know that you can trust him with as many minutes as possible. Tommy Novak continues to impress, and he played it hard all the way until the end of that game. That is impressive when it seemed like there weren't very many players on either team playing very hard right up until the end. Want to talk about Luzon for just a second. 6 hits in this game. He led the team in hits yet again. He has become in recent weeks an absolute physical force, a physical dynamo out there on the ice. You notice it, you see it, it's very obvious. It's reminiscent of what Tanner Jeannot used to do when he was out there intimidating the ever-living hell out of the opposing hockey team. But Luzon has picked that banner up and just run with it, and he is doing incredible out there. Just 6 more hits, and they were big, they were impactful, and he has certainly found a way to make himself a meaningful player as a third-pair defenseman on this Nashville Predators team. 1834 in time on ice. He's out there delivering hits all over the place. Now, we have to talk about, obviously, some negatives, but I did want to bring a couple of positives from what happened tonight. And the headline from this game is: a dog-tired team plays like dog shit. They could not impose their will on anything against St. Louis. The Nashville Predators might have had their skates under them briefly in the first period, but let's face it, they were chasing the game, they were chasing the play, they were physically pushed around, they were out-raced, out-competed, and the St. Louis Blues looked like they were fresh as daisies, while the Nashville Predators looked like they were tired as could possibly be. I get it. It has been a lot of hockey. Look, even I'm starting to feel it at this point, and yes, fatigue is a thing when it comes to professional sports in the NHL. Every team plays the same number of games over the course of a full season, but over short, compacted sections of the schedule, sometimes it can become almost too much. The 5-game road trip making up the extra game, the extra back-to-back right there, and now heading off to a tough St. Louis opponent. Now, the St. Louis Blues are not where they want to be in the standings, but they are a division rival, and that was a tough game. The Preds physically, mentally, spiritually did not have it in this game. They looked exhausted. It seemed like they were exhausted, and when you start seeing the goals just start going in there at the end of the second period and piling up in the beginning of the third period, you can see the Preds just being beaten to the front of their own net, beaten to the high danger areas, beaten everywhere on the ice, on the scoreboard, and in the standings. It's an unfortunate result, and it is unfortunate that the Nashville Predators did not have seemingly the energy to go out there and compete at the level you would expect the Nashville Predators to compete at, but there was just no way they were going to be able to do that. And after you saw them for the first several minutes of this game, it was pretty apparent that the St. Louis Blues were going to have their way with the Nashville Predators as the Preds were running out of gas right in front of our very eyes. So again, the headline is: a dog-tired team plays like dog shit. I don't think the Nashville Predators could have done anything about this. This was nothing like when the Preds went to St. Louis the previous time and it went all the way to a shootout at 0-0, or when the Preds beat the St. Louis Blues at Bridgestone Arena earlier in the season, running away with the score much like St. Louis did tonight. The Nashville Predators just simply looked, and it felt like they were an exhausted team out there on the ice. It's not an excuse. It's a reality of being a long schedule and playing a lot of games in a compacted amount of time. This team needs the All-Star break to get here, and they need to find a way to close out these last 3 home games before that. They need to do it strong going into the All-Star break. Now, I've given you a lot to talk about, a lot to think about, and I want to hear from Sean C. Smith from A to Z Sports. You can find him on Twitter at SCSNSH. He is the one and only Sean C. Smith, and he's filed this report right now.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades, it's Sean Smith, and if you like ugly losses to a team that was behind you in the standings before the game, then I've got a game for you. That's right. The Predators squared off against the St. Louis Blues tonight, and they left with the case of the Blues because they lost 5-2. I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't see a lot of fight out of the team except for a couple of outlying performances there by Philip Forsberg, who seemed determined to do everything he could to make something happen. UC Saros, of course, not getting a lot of support in front of the net. And Tanner Jeannot, long after the game was past a chance, taking his frustrations out on a few guys on the boards. And quite frankly, it was an ugly loss. I don't really know what else to say other than that. I sat there, I watched the game, I paid attention to the game. I saw a lot of opportunities where the Predators had chances at an open net, but nobody was in front of the net. I noticed a chance where somebody got a shot on Binnington. There was a rebound over on the right side of the net. Binnington was clearly splayed out over on the other side of the net, and everybody was going off for a change. Almost like as soon as they saw that the puck was going to be stopped, they said, oh, time for a change. A couple of guys would have been in perfect position to pop that puck in, but they decided they needed to skate around the back of the net, looking toward the bench. And I get it. They're tired. That's fine. But make sure that play's dead. Make sure there's a whistle. Make sure that something happens that means you should get off the ice before you abandon whatever's going on in front of that net, because that would have been a prime opportunity. And you saw what happens. Even when Cole Smith throws a puck over in front of the net, if somebody's coming, like Colton Sissons was, that's an opportunity. That's a scoring chance. That one worked out for the team. But there are a lot of times when I saw pucks go in front of the net and there was no one there. And I think that's what's most frustrating, is it's not that the Predators didn't have opportunities. It's that when they had those opportunities, there weren't very many times when someone was there to drive that puck home behind Binnington and put some points on the board. Now, what does this mean in the greater context of things? Let's get serious now. Okay. The Predators aren't in a playoff spot. At this stage in the game, they're probably looking at not making the playoffs. And unless there's some kind of late season push, a couple of teams start to flounder a little bit, that I could see them squeaking into the playoffs. But let's be realistic. They're probably not going to go very far in those playoffs. Last season, they barely made it into the playoffs, and they barely made it out of the playoffs alive. Backup goalie David Riddick got chased out of the net within the first 15 minutes of the game. Connor Ingram coming in his relief. Never really stood a chance after that. And that was the way the season ended, the way the playoffs ended. And it seems like at this point, if the Predators are headed to a postseason appearance, which I'm not convinced they are, I don't think they are, it looks like they're going to be another first-round exit. And that's not what you really want. There's one thing here to say about keeping that playoff streak alive. And, hey, we've been to the playoffs this many times in a row, and that's a great bragging point. But when the on-ice product, especially against a team like the Blues, which is a team that was behind them in the standings, a team that you would assume, hey, they're on pretty even footing with that team, and they even had a couple of key injuries to some key players that kept them out of the game tonight, and then to get manhandled, and I use that word, I mean that word, manhandled, 5-2, not a good look. So, at this point, you have to start wondering, with the trade deadline coming up, it's not around the corner, but it's down the block. So the trade deadline's coming up. Are people going to start getting moved out? Is there going to be some kind of clear signal that this team is getting ready to enter into a committed rebuild? Are they going to start selling off pieces at the trade deadline? There are going to be some teams out there that all they need to push them over is a good veteran defenseman like Matthias Ekholm, who, look, I'm going to be honest, that's not who I want to lose. I don't want to lose Matthias Ekholm. I like Matthias Ekholm. I think he's a great player. I like the way he plays. I like his personality. I like the energy he brings to the team. But he's also going to do that same thing for another team, and he might have a chance at winning a Stanley Cup. And realistically, that's probably what would be best for the Predators at this point, and what would be best for Matthias Ekholm at this point, is that he's able to go play somewhere else, and in return for that cap hit, the Predators are able to get some good draft picks out of it, or maybe even some nice prospects. And that's what you're going to be looking for if you're looking for this team to start the rebuilding process. So keep an eye out for those things over the next few weeks. We've heard rumblings. We've heard that Matthias Ekholm is available, and I assure you he would be a great pickup for any team that's looking to make a playoff push. He has experience, he's a veteran presence, and he's pretty darn good at defending. So that being said, ugly loss. I don't think that this signals that the team's getting blown up tomorrow, but I do think that when you start to see the team lose games like this to what you would consider to be your peers, people that you are fighting for a playoff spot against, losing like this is not a good sign. Charlie, that's all I've got for tonight. Hate to be so negative, but just got to call it the way I see it. I'm going to send it back over to you.
The digital environment can be quite intimidating, time-consuming, and cumbersome, especially with all those other areas that need attention at your business, and that's why Stripe Digital Solutions is here to help. I know because that's exactly what Stripe Digital Solutions did for me and the Renegades of Puck. From designing my home website and helping me create my merchandise to special event posters, brand building, and social media management. But it's not just that, it's so much more. Stripe Digital Solutions has helped me every step of the way. From startup to full-time operation, Stripe Digital Solutions has been there to assist and advise every single step of the journey. In today's fast-paced world, the path to success is having a strong digital partner, and nobody is better in the trenches than Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions. Get the solution before it's even a problem with Stripe Digital Solutions. Though there's very limited things to report from the box score, of course, we are going to go through that. It is the protocol for this segment here on the Renegades of Puck podcast, so let's go ahead and get you those numbers. Colton Sissons picks up a goal. We went through his 500th game. Congratulations again to Colton Sissons, one of the few bright spots for this Nashville Predators team tonight. Matthias Ekholm scores. It's absolutely should be classified and is a garbage goal. A garbage goal, let's see. Let's do a thought experiment right here. A garbage goal comes when the player doesn't even celebrate. It's so late in the game and so non-impactful that it's like when Matthias Ekholm scores right here and just doesn't even put his arms up. Just everyone just skates back to the bench. And that's what you should do when you've gotten blown out and you score a garbage goal. So I think that's how I classify a garbage goal, and I think Matthias Ekholm would understand and agree that the goal that he scored here was a garbage goal. It had no meaning or impact in the game. Just simply gave Matthias Ekholm goal on the season. Tommy Novak picked up an assist. Talked about Tommy Novak a lot already. Really like what I'm seeing out of this player. He's just a good, young, all-around, solid hockey player, and I love the way he grinds about it every game. Cole Smith does pick up an assist. Good to see Cole Smith on the score sheet. I do not understand the fascination with Cole Smith. I'm going to go ahead and add a second point right here to what I've already been discussing. I don't understand why Cole Smith has been allowed to have more than half of a season now and be non-productive in every single way. I keep hearing about how players are so good out there on the ice and doing this and doing that. At the end of the day, you have to be a contributor to the team. Cole Smith has featured numerous scoring chances right at the top of the crease in the slot area. He's set up by all kinds of scorers, all kinds of great playmakers and passers, and never does he convert. I don't understand. I guess I should put this in perspective. I don't understand why Cole Smith is on this team and Eli Tolvanen is not on this Nashville Predators team. It was a mistake. It was a misconduct of general manager misconduct on an epic level to keep Cole Smith over Eli Tolvanen. And again, I'm happy to see Cole Smith pick up an assist in this game, but Jesus, it's been more than half a season and he's barely registered any points. The experiment has failed. Now, back to the box score, which is what this segment is supposed to be about. Alex Carey also picks up an assist in this game. Felt like he did some good things out there on the ice, but simply not enough to help the Nashville Predators overcome the deficits that they had. When it comes to shots on goal, the captain Romeo had 7 shots on goal. He had so many shot attempts just in the first period. It was pretty wild, actually. Colton sits in second on the team with shots on goal with 3. And then when it comes to blocked shots, only 2 was the leader. Carrier, Fabro, and Yossi each with 2. When it comes to hits, Luzon had 6. He led the team, a physical powerhouse. He is becoming, and I'm starting to enjoy it more and more every time I see him out there. Gino had 4 hits in this game, but was physically beaten on several plays, and that's not something I expect from Tanner Gino. Parson led the team in time on ice as far as forwards go, 16-35 in total time on ice. And, of course, the captain, Romeo-Yossi, 24-51. So Parson busted from the first line down to the third line, now leading the team in total time on ice. So he's earning John Hines' trust, but he's not getting put. I'm starting to lose the plot when it comes to this coaching staff. I'm starting to not be able to follow the thread that they are leaving out there for us. Parson gets moved from the first line back to the third line, but then tonight he leads the team in time on ice as far as forwards go. The line jumbling, the line combinations, the lack of chemistry more than halfway through the season, the underperforming veterans, the underperforming everything except for the goaltender, it is troubling is what it is, and the Nashville Preds are going to have to really do some significant thinking over the All-Star break. And let's see what happens over these next 3 games. For me, I don't need any more evidence to make decisions. I know what decisions need to be made. It needs to start with getting a new general manager who will then get a new head coach who will then make new roster acquisitions and move out some of these contracts that are frankly failing. You cannot continue paying $9+ million a year for a forward that does not even register in the top 5 in scoring when the top 5 in scoring is rounded out at 23 points more than halfway through the season. It's time for these players to step up. It's time for this coaching staff to step up. It's time for the general manager to get something done. This Nashville Predators team might be over 500, but frankly, they're floundering, and I don't see them going anywhere if they don't start doing something. Soul-searching time is coming, and the sodium pentothal is coming over the All-Star break. Believe me, you are going to have to eat some very hard truths. The sellout streak is non-existent, and there are more rates and coupons and specials out there than there have been since before 2017. The veterans are not performing to any level that you expect them to. The young players are not being featured properly when they need to be. The coaching staff is a confused jumble of a mess. While they give us long-form answers, they don't really back up those long-form answers with the results on the ice in any way, shape, or form. And these next 3 games, it's going to be a very, very big moment for this Nashville Predators team and going forward. Don't forget, and just one last reminder on it, there is a new ownership group coming in, and they're coming very soon. Changes will be made. The Nashville Predators need to figure some damn things out over the next 3 games. All right, let's take one last break. Let's come back and wrap it up. We've kind of rambled on to a wrap-up already, but let's go ahead. We'll come back with a close. Be back in just a second. I'm Crazy Charlie Saunier, captain of the Renegades of Puck. I'm also tired of the cold, tired of the dark, and tired of being landlocked. I'm also willing to bet that I'm not the only one who could use some sun, fun, and time in paradise with friends. That's exactly why I called our great friend Pete Weber. He told me, call Ships and Trips Travel, and now we're all going to Mexico. That's right, Renegades of Puck, July 15th to the 20th of 2023. Dreams Vallarta Resort in Puerto Vallarta is the destination to hang with Pete Weber in paradise. To join Pete and the Renegades of Puck in Puerto Vallarta, go to www.shipsandtripstravel.com. That's shipsandtripstravel.com, and just click on the ROP on vacation tab. Don't stay landlocked. Join the Renegades of Puck in paradise, July 15th to the 20th, 2023 in Puerto Vallarta. Pete Weber, the Renegades of Puck, and you. It's time to ditch those skates for flip-flops and fun in the sun. And just the final thought, 3 games. We talked about it. We just talked about it. 3 games to go before the All-Star break, and the Nashville Predators are going to have to do some soul-searching over those 3 games. They are going to have some very tough opponents. The LA Kings are a very good team. The Winnipeg Jets are a very good team. And the New Jersey Devils are an even better team that are probably going to be looking for a little payback and a receipt on the Preds for that loss in New Jersey just a couple of weeks back. It is not an easy schedule for this Nashville Predators team, and if they're struggling against teams like the St. Louis Blues and the Columbus Blue Jackets, then they are definitely going to have incredible difficulties over the next 3 games. Right the ship, get the wind at your back, get some momentum going into the All-Star break, and then let the front office figure it out. They're going to have to. Changes are going to have to be made with this franchise soon, because just middling away at 6th in the Central Division, if that's all you are competing for, then you are competing for nothing. And if there's no plan, then you are not going to be doing any better the next season or the season after that. So that wraps things up here from the bunker. It's going to be nice to take a break for at least one day, but we'll be back in the bunker for this LA Kings game. We'll wrap it up and we'll preview the Winnipeg Jets right here from the bunker. For each and every one of the Renegades of Puck, can't thank Sean C. Smith enough for jumping in the trench tonight, filing that report. Brian Baston will be back soon, and we'll be talking to you for episode number 707. Operation 706 is in the books. Sure to appreciate each and every one of you Renegades of Puck for checking us out. Follow us on social media, give us a like, pick up some merch, and again, stick taps to the Full Press Predators coverage, the Full Press NHL Network. Give those guys a follow too. Give them some stick taps, love, and respect. They sure are doing right by the Renegades of Puck, and the Renegades Puck Hockey Club will be making their debut 1 week from Sunday. I'll have more updates, more information on that coming up in the next episode. Stick taps, love, and respect. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier.